Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of 25-year-old Jelani Day, who was a grad student at the Illinois State University, who disappeared on August 24th of 2021. Jelani wanted to be a doctor and he was working on his master's degree in speech pathology when he suddenly vanished. Now 2 days later, his car was found in a wooded area about an hour north of where he was in Bloomington, in a place called Peru, Illinois. And about 9 days after that, they found his body in the Illinois River near Peru. The coroner took a look at the body and couldn't conclude what the actual cause of death was aside from drowning. That's the only thing they could really positively identify because the body had been in warm water for quite a long time, so the condition was not good, to say the least. Aside from decomposition, there was also traces of predators, I suppose animals that had found the body and damaged it. I read somewhere that some of his teeth were missing. Now, according to, I guess, the coroner and other people that are more medically inclined, that could be because they just were in the water for so long that they eventually let go. Other people suspect that maybe something else had happened, that perhaps he had been in a fight. Now, aside from mentioning that he had no shoes on, somebody mentioned that I think his mother said that when she was talking about footprints that she had seen in pictures of the bank in the area where he was found in the water. But I don't see anywhere whether he was wearing anything at all, because in his car that was found in Peru, they found the clothes that he was wearing when he went missing. So I'm not sure if he put on a new set of clothes or if he was just completely without clothing when they found him. According to his mother, he wasn't depressed, he didn't have any kind of pressures that would make him want to escape from his life, so I do feel as if there was someone involved. That is from Carmen, his mother. His phone was also found, I believe, a couple of months afterwards, and after some time they managed to unlock the phone, but from what I could tell, they couldn't really find anything that would point towards what happened to him on his phone. But that is all the information I can really find. Most of what I see here is people arguing back and forth about whether or not it was intentional or whether he actually did it himself or somebody did it to him. Nobody has any real answers, and that is why we're going to take a look at this case using the tarot. And we're going to start off with the Tarot Mucha, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Wise Dog Tarot, which is this one. As per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck, and as soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, kind of struggling with my camera setup today, so I had to move it around a little bit, so probably the cards seem to have jumped a bit. Also, apparently there is a Halloween event going on outside. There's these guys that have set up a tent and they're like trying to scare the neighborhood kids as they walk past, and that's been going on for some time now. I thought maybe that would be done after kids' bedtime, but I guess not, because it is nearly Halloween. It's not quite Halloween. It'll be this Tuesday, and I'm recording this on a Friday evening. But I guess during the week they have to go to school, so they don't really have any other time to do it than now. So you may occasionally hear some screaming and yelling in the background, hopefully not too loudly. They are quite a distance, and I don't think that the microphone always picks it up. Sometimes it does, and in case you hear that, then you know what it is. Anyway, we have quite a few cards that jumped out right at the end when I really only had one spot left for a card, and then suddenly we had 4 extras. So we're going to see how we work our way through the end here. We're going to start at the top anyway. That's where we began. So we have the 8 of Wands, we have the 9 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Wands in reverse, followed by the Magician over there. Okay, so but first we have a communication or some type of urgent message, idea, initiative, something like that, because the Eight of Wands has a lot of energy, there's a lot of movement, it could also be very sudden. It's kind of like the combination of the Ace of Wands and the Chariot, I always feel. Don't often say it, but that's kind of how it comes across. So that's what's happening right now. So they may have gotten some sudden inspiration. As you can see, the person on the card looks to be like receiving some type of information or some type of idea, whatever it is, but there's a lot of action here that suddenly needs to be taken. We have the Nine of Pentacles, which is somebody looking to be in quite a lot of abundance. They have a lot of everything. It's got a strong Empress vibe in that sense that they have like these berries there. I think those are grapes. There's just a lot of wealth around them. Also kind of reminding me of that Greek god, was it Bacchus, or is that the Roman version? Well, the one that had all the wine and made everybody go crazy and that type of thing. It has somewhat of a vibe of that attached to it. And then we have the Five of Wands in reverse. So there is some struggle, but it could be an internal struggle or something that they may be struggling with. So we see some type of urgent initiative taken, and there is definitely some involvement here with some type of internal struggle and possibly a wealth thing happening. Could be that maybe somebody needed something from them, or they just felt like they needed a break or something. Now, from what I heard, he wasn't the type to go and do something like take an extended break from school because he felt like he needed a moment to himself, that type of thing. But like I said, the grapes in particular are kind of showing a bit of almost like an indulgence type of thing, an indulgence card, but there is some internal struggle as well. So maybe they were indulging themselves, maybe they were indulging somebody else. Doesn't really show any other people yet, but let's go take a look at the rest, because over here we have the Mage, or the Wizard. Magician, followed by the Ten of Cups. So there is quite a lot of harmony here, or feeling pretty good. And it is brought about by being very smart about certain things, maybe having planned things ahead. Now the Fool there on the end got put in last, but I do kind of feel a little bit of Fool energy here, particularly following these other cards here. Like we're suddenly in an urge to go get some type of indulgence, it seems as though, even though we are kind of fighting against it, but we are managing to get things done. And also possibly this is something that they've managed to do while not having anything else, other areas in their life suffer, maybe something along those lines. And the Fool does point towards somebody who is just kind of letting go, kind of happy-go-lucky and just taking life as it comes, that type of thing. So they may have been in a really good mood after a while and just kind of let loose and did whatever it is that they felt like in that moment. Second row, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse, so we're not very sharp, or at least we're not in the best of moods. Could be this is them, or this is somebody else who has some type of ill intention, because the Queen of Swords is also very sharp-witted, very manipulative. And we do see the next card being the Six of Swords in reverse, which is often, at least I always associate that with going places against your will, because the Six of Swords is normally just ferrying from one place to another, and it could be kind of like the Fool in the sense that it just lets you, or you let it take you where you need to be, which could be mentally as well as physically. But I often see this in situations where people are led to places physically where they did not want to be. So maybe this is somebody whom they've encountered who has convinced them to go somewhere else, at least not where they had initially planned to go. Then the next card that we have here is the Seven of Cups in reverse. No choices is how I often see this. It's kind of like not having much options at all, because the Seven of Cups is normally like having lots of different things that you would wish for, and while they may still be thinking of things that they could have wished for that they would rather have had, I think there's also a realization that there isn't much else available to them at this point. So this is not a very positive turn that we have here. All of a sudden we have the Four of Swords taking a break, and then we have a mix of cards. Let me just grab all three of them real quick. Hermit came last, and on its side we'll put that one like this for now. So we have Four of Swords, we have a possibly new perspective, but at least we're taking a step back and then we're taking a break. We have a Queen of Cups in reverse, possibly somebody very emotionally manipulative, up to no good maybe, or just him not having very good grip of his own emotions. Then we have the Eight of Pentacles, which is somebody who is very focused and working on their craft. So we are focusing on things and we are away from things as well. I'm noticing that tower in the distance and how he seems to be not quite in the middle of nowhere, but away from where a lot of people would be so that they could focus on their craft. It could be that they're not really looking to go back anytime soon, at least not in that point in time. Like they are looking for a new perspective, a new break, and maybe the Queen of Cups in reverse is them actually going, you know what, I don't feel so good by myself. I just need to take a moment for myself to do things and write things for myself, working things out for myself. Maybe they had some questions that they needed answering, something along those lines. And then we have here the Hermit in the side here, on its side. It wasn't quite up or reversed. So maybe they're also kind of wondering where or when they should take this moment to themselves to take a break and figure out whatever it is that's bothering them. Now, his mother did say that he was not depressed, didn't have any particular issues that he would want to run from. Maybe it was more of a what's my future gonna look like type of situation. Maybe he was like wondering what he was going to be doing in the next 10 years or whatever, just asking some big questions in life that he needed a break from. Or he had this encounter over here with this Queen of Swords and he needed to step back from that to reevaluate things as a result of that. That could also be an option. So it could have been some type of encounter with somebody whom left them in a state of I need to take a break and think things over anew. Or maybe they were already there by themselves and maybe going places where they had not intended. And in this case, the Queen of Swords could be their own advisor telling them to go places. And maybe that did not end up being the place where he wanted to go. Looking at the map, though, he seems to have driven straight up to Peru from Bloomington. Maybe that was not the ultimate goal and he was actually taking a break in Peru for continuing his trip somewhere else. I don't know, but either way, so we are here now. I'm thinking that we are already on this road trip, whether it was intentional or not. Let's see what happens next. Ace of Pentacles, all right, so not making great investment calls here. Maybe we're spending time on the wrong things, the wrong activities, wasting our time actually and our resources on these things. Oh. Two of them right there. This is Death. All right, so this is a card that is showing a new chapter or possibly just the closure of the previous one. Like this is a big marker, milestone type of situation that you would be looking at. I think they were fairly calm during this time because this dog does not appear to be super afraid or anything like that. They appear to just be calmly sitting around looking at this butterfly on their nose, like almost accepting it and like curious about what the situation is. Not super afraid in any case, not backing down. I do see the skeleton there at the bottom, but I think it's also kind of just a reminder that there's always cycles and everybody's part of this cycle, whether they like it or not. And then we have the Hermit card. Again, we just had it. And if you noticed, when it was upside down, now normally when a card is upside down and it's on its side, I just pick it up whichever way it goes, and then that's the way the card is read. But when it lands face up and it goes like this, I keep it in that position. But this card was already on its side when it was still flipped, and this Hermit is also on its side. So we're still kind of like not really sure about what to do, maybe in not quite the best of mind here. And this Hermit over here, I've seen that before, is also from at least removing themselves from the society behind them. You can kind of see some towers in the distance, and it looks like a hedge or a wall is behind them. They appear to have found themselves a little spot to themselves. Maybe they were looking for something like that. Maybe they were just looking for a place where they could be by themselves and think. So far, not too much information on what exactly was happening and how they ended up in the water, but it does seem to be pointing back towards, I just need a break, I just need to think about things, and at least with that double hermit there on its side. But we do see that there was at least some type of bad investment made there with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So maybe they didn't quite do the right thing, and it might have been as simple as turning into the wrong path on a hike or something along those lines. Like you could end up walking in a left turn, and maybe if you had taken the right one, things would have been fine. Kind of like that, I want to say butterfly effect, but that's usually a little more subtle. It's more of a what if situation. So maybe they weren't even aware that they weren't doing the right thing, and like I said, they may not have been in the best of minds. Like we do see some mind altering emotional things happening here. Wouldn't necessarily say that they were on something. They were found on that camera at the dispensary, but I don't think that we're still under the influence of that at this point. In any case, they really appear to be in a mood that may have already existed before they even showed up there. I don't think that substances did too much to help or hinder this mindset. So this is something they may have been struggling with for before that, I suppose. And then we have the Six of Wands. Now, the Six of Wands is being looked upon as some type of hero, or at least some type of admirable person. Could be that some people were impressed by him. Could also be that he's remembering the admiration of people around him. I mean, he was studying to be a doctor, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people were very proud of him. In his family as well, he may be remembering how they view him at this point. So he is maybe also just taking stock of the people around them, possibly. Maybe wondering who to focus on. We have the Devil in reverse, all right? So that is usually kicking some type of habit, letting something go, unsubscribing from some type of mindset that may have bothered or hindered or held you back in the past. Letting go of certain people. I was just talking about focusing on the people that actually are positive in his life, and then we have the Devil card come up next, which is also things that hold you back. It doesn't always have to be something like drugs, because often with the Devil it's kind of like an addiction type of thing that often is associated with the Devil, but it could also just be any type of thing that ties you down, weighs you down. Could be as simple as friends that keep wanting to borrow money without actually ever returning it, even though you think that they mean well, or they say that they mean well, and that they'll always keep promising that they'll give it back to you, but ultimately those people are just a net negative in your life. So it could be that he was indeed making up this list internally of, okay, these people I want to keep, these people I gotta get rid of, and maybe just kind of wondering about his life in a secluded environment. Okay, and then we have the Lovers on its side. Lovers is also signing up for certain types of mindsets and making connections with people. It's right in the middle. I'm going to leave it right there on its side. So they may be doubting about who they should or shouldn't continue to be in connection with. We have the Wheel of Fortune that's in reverse. This one's definitely a reverse. And then we have the Queen of Cups again, but this time the Queen of Cups is upright. So earlier we already had a situation where we had a death card that was like a new fresh start, end of a chapter, possibly opening a new one. And now we have here the Wheel of Change that's in reverse, so that's literally a Wheel of Fortune rather, a turn for the worst possibly, like maybe something happened that was definitely unforeseen. Well, the Queen of Cups is here, so I feel like initially they were trying to be as emotionally mature about whatever it is that happened in that moment. Now, the cups cards are often watery anyway, because of course the water is connected to emotions, but this one's a particularly watery card here, with the crabs and the starfish, and also we have a turtle, but we also have a butterfly, which is interesting. The butterfly is right there at the base of the cup, next to the crab, if you can see that there. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because the butterflies, at least when I see them in this deck, it often seems to point towards death. The card death, but also the actual fact. And I don't always see them, but usually when I do notice them, like when I really get drawn to see them, I think there is that connection. And particularly now that we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse followed by this particular card, it's almost like a facing things with a level head and not letting the emotions run wild type of situation. So they may have been in a seriously bad situation there that happened rather suddenly. I don't think it had anything to do with the making of the balance over here. Like, that was probably just them in their own bubble. Maybe that's also why they were not super careful about where they were stepping or something along those lines. Okay, this one. This is the Nine of Swords, and it is in reverse. Okay, so that would normally be an anxiety card, a worry card, but it's in reverse, which could either mean that it's something that has been going on for some time, or it's something that's really not going to go away anytime soon. Like, this is an internal thing that they're experiencing. The moon is also here in the corner, which makes me wonder if perhaps it was nighttime at the time that something happened that made them gave them this anxiety. You can see it in the corner here, top left, the moon. I didn't see that before. There are a couple of cats over there, but it's kind of like a dog-cat thing that's kind of weighing on her mind. If there were actually a dog there, they might have been rather obsessed by the cats. But I'm just noticing that it's quite dark here with this moon here, and they might be very anxious. I'm thinking they may have, this may be them slipping into the water actually at night time and being very anxious, but also trying to stay calm at the same time, because they know that panicking doesn't help you at all. And I heard, at least I read, that his mother said that he was a good swimmer, so it's like he's probably trying to make sure to keep his head above water in this case, if that were what would be happening, and just trying to, I guess, swim with the current or the river or whatever it is that people need to do in order to get to the embankment faster and safely. But that doesn't mean that he's not panicking internally. Okay, that is the Nine of Pentacles, and it's in reverse, so we're losing quite a bit here. I'm not sure what we're losing. It could also just be a feeling of loss in general, because the 9 cards in particular are also like a personal type of thing, like an individual wealth or an individual feeling, like emotions that are good or bad, just feeling good about yourself in general or not. And I think this is also kind of like them feeling like they're losing out on something, possibly also losing some strength here, because that's also part of your resources. It could be that they were struggling against the tide or something, and that strength was waning. Now, it was warm water, so it's not like he's likely to have had hypothermia. Okay, we got a couple, or one card at least over here. This is the Eight of Swords in reverse. So the Eight of Swords is normally a mental entrapment that you keep yourself in. It's in reverse though. So maybe they thought that they had a way of getting out of this situation. They were convincing themselves that this area that they were focusing on was the right way to go, and it turned out to be the exact opposite. Like that type of mental gymnastics, mental entrapment is what's probably going on here. Like maybe they're tired, it's probably dark, that's what it looked like, and they maybe have like fooled themselves into thinking that they see perhaps like a log or some type of a sandbank that they can head towards. I don't know exactly what the river is like over there because I've never been there, but there may be areas that they thought were best to swim towards, and that may not have turned out to be what they needed to do after all. Okay. Then we have this is the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Yes, we are looking at a card that says we have not invested our resources wisely. So I think this definitely follows what I was just saying. They had a focus on a certain direction, a certain path of action to take. They convinced themselves that that was exactly what they needed to do. And I think this is the part where they realize, actually, that's not at all what I should have been doing. Maybe even chastising themselves for having been foolish or foolish enough to go the wrong way. Of course, in a situation like that, nobody can really know beforehand what they would do. Hindsight is 20/20 and all of that. So I think that they just made the wrong decision. It started off over here, making wrong decisions with this Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And it could have been, like I said, as simple as just taking the wrong route and just not being very careful. They appear to have been in a certain mindset of just wandering to themselves about certain things that really only played out in their own mind. And that may have landed them in a tricky situation where they eventually possibly made the wrong choice that at the very least cost them quite a lot of time and resources. Can we see anything else anymore? We have a card over here. This is the Six of Cups. Okay, so now we are kind of like thinking back to the past. This is a melancholy card. It could be that they're having flashes of things, flashes of maybe playing with their siblings or friends or something from before. And if they are already in the water, in this case, they may be thinking about how they used to go swimming with other people in the past and how that went compared to how things were going at that point. Three of Wands, not being able to go anywhere else because it's in reverse. Normally Three of Wands would be planning and executing traveling plans. This may have been them thinking, I should have gone here, I should have gone there, just like what I was saying earlier. And then we have the Seven of Pentacles, which is reaping what you sow. I think it was really in a mood of, oh my god, I should have done this other thing. If only I had done that, that would have been so much better. But now I got to deal with this because of Seven of Pentacles over here, showing us exactly what the fruits of our labor are. Oh, one of them flipped in the stack. The Ten of Wands in reverse. Ten of Wands normally upright would be the final lap, the final thing that you have to do in order to complete something that's really taxing. And there appears to be no end in sight. I think this is also them losing strength, losing power, losing energy, possibly fighting against something that's really pulling them down. Oop. You go back over here. The Ten of Pentacles. Now the Ten of Pentacles is normally like an inheritance card. I often also see this as a card that says this is the future that I'm headed towards. I am expected to do this, I'm expected to do that. And in these types of situations, when the Ten of Pentacles shows up in reverse, it's like a letting go, or perhaps struggling against letting go the idea of the future that they had in mind, that they thought was going to be theirs, and having to say goodbye to that because it's obviously not going to happen anymore now. Okay, I think those will be the final cards for today. There's two of them here, I think. Star in reverse, and then we have the Moon. Okay, the star is going down, and then we have the Moon rising, which is an interesting combination as well. And I feel like this is almost symbolically saying, okay, at this point, they are exhausted and they are seeing things leaving. I guess the future that they thought they were going to have is dissipating right before their eyes. And the star going down I often see when somebody is made to disappear or disappears off of the map. And in this case, I suppose this was him also disappearing and being no longer able to answer phone calls and that sort of thing because he was just missing in general. And then we have the moon kind of hiding things in these shadows because that is what the moon does. I think that is pointing towards us now having all of these questions about what happened to him, and are we ever going to see anything? Like, are we ever going to learn the truth, what actually happened? So the star is falling as he leaves the world, and then the moon rises to hide what is left of his story. I think that's what these two cards are trying to say. So that is what I'm seeing for Jelani. It looks as though he had some sudden spurt of energy to go and sort things out for himself, which is unusual in itself because he was very much dedicated to his studies. I read somewhere else that he was also planning on becoming a bone marrow donor for his father, so he was definitely not planning on disappearing. I don't think it doesn't show that he was planning on disappearing, but it looks as though whatever trip he suddenly took impromptu, like, went very, very far south. And as a result of a few poor choices made that he was probably not even aware of, he ended up in some very bad trouble that ended up costing him his life. So that is it for now. I hope you found it interesting. Make sure to leave a like and a comment. That really helps the channel along. If you want to subscribe, that's even more appreciated. In any case, I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.